Good morning. With Path of Exile 2's most recent patch, one of the biggest changes here were the improvements to breaches, and as someone who already was kind of a breach enjoyer before, I figured why not go for the ultimate breach farming character, since my plan for the next few days is going to be to farm the new and improved breaches as much as possible, while also gaining as much experience as I can to get closer and closer to the ultimate goal of level 100 in this Dawn of the Hunt League. So for this purpose, I restructured the Spark cast on critical Blood Mage here to be an absolute mapping machine, sporting a Rarity find on character of almost 140%, while also rocking an energy shield of over 8,000, making it way less likely to die randomly to anything while mapping. So I've been doing maps and mainly breaches with this setup all day, and the results have been very, very good. So I just wanted to make this quick video showcasing everything about this build. Before I go over everything, I should mention that everything described here will be in a new written guide on my Mobalytics page as well. I will have put a lot of effort into that one. So if you also want to go with this amazing Blood Mage setup, you can of course always use that written Mobalytics guide as well. So let's go over everything for this high rarity tank machine that is the Spark CoC Blood Mage. So, like I alluded to in the beginning here, this character is now extremely tanky. We have a maximum life of over 2,000 and an energy shield of almost 8,700 here. We also have an energy shield recharge delay of only 3 seconds due to our Sacramental rope here, and a energy shield recharge per second of 1,411. Also, for the tankiness, of course, we are capped at all of our elemental reses, and of course the chaos res. So overall, let's go over the skill gems here first. First of all, I should mention that we are not crit capped at all anymore here. So 97% is the value that I have here. The ultimate goal for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow is going to be to go back to 100%, probably by optimizing some of the jewels or something. 97 is just more than enough here though. 97% is more than enough for what we're doing here, and 520 critical damage bonus. The damage we are rocking here is going to be enough to kill any T4 pinnacle boss in seconds as well. So for mapping, this is just gonna be very easy. This is more than enough for mapping damage wise. Super good. But the main focus here for this build, of course, like I mentioned, is the rarity here. So 139 rarity. We are getting rarity on basically every single gear piece here that we can get it on. So 139. This is the value that I am on right now for this character. So for the skill gems, I'm using Lightning Bolt from Cry of the Storm, of course, with Concentrated Effect, Spell Echo, Considered Casting, and Ingenuity. Life Remnants, we have Interlude, Dissipate, and Magnetism. For Spark, I'm using Pierce, Acceleration, Mobility, Arcane Tempo, and Inspiration. We are only using one cast on critical, so we do not need any extra spirit for this build. 100 spirit is enough, 10 for magnetism, 90 for cast on critical. So cast on critical, we're using 2 arcs with impetus, energy retention, and elemental focus here. On weapon swap, we are also using convalescence to regain our energy shield at any point. Also on weapon swap, we are using blink. For bossing, for pinnacle bossing, or for map bosses, we are also using Orb of Storms here with Neural Overload, Electrocute, Overabundance, Magnified Effect, and Font of Blood. Also, for pinnacle bosses and map bosses, we can also use the Sigil of Power on weapon swap, of course, and also we are using Soul Offering on weapon swap as well for that juicy extra damage for pinnacle bosses. On itemization, of course, offensively, the wand is going to be very important here. The most important stat line on your wand is going to be the critical hit chance for spells, of course. If you are on a much lower budget than I am, then getting a +4 wand is more than fine. Getting high critical hit chance as possible is going to be priority number 1, so you don't have to take that much critical hit chance on the passive tree or on any other gear. So getting critical hit chance on spells for the wand, and the focus is going to be the main focus here. on any of the other gear pieces, your main priority is going to be to get a high energy shield base. So a helmet with high energy shield, a chest with high energy shield, boots with high energy shield, and also a focus with high energy shield is going to be priority number 1 to get your tankiness as high as possible. Priority number 2 is going to be Rarity. I have Rarity on my helmet, on both of my rings, and on my boots. And I also have it as a corruption on our amulet here. So Rarity is going to be very, very important here, obviously, for the high Rarity version here. The best source for Rarity is going to be rings. You can get up to 50 Rarity on both of these rings. So you can basically get 100 or up to 100 Rarity on just your rings. And that is going to be the best source for that. Another priority is going to be maximum life. On all of the gear pieces, I got it on my helmet here. I also got it on my chest here. It's also going to be nice to get a nice and a decent life pool to be able to cast all your spells with the blood magic that we're using here. Of course, core item here again, at series acuity, like all the other blood mage builds, basically. And for mapping, I am using a headhunter here. This is definitely not needed. This is a very high investment version that I'm running here. You do not need this. This is definitely possible on a much, much lower budget, at least for mapping. This is going to be more than fine. You can use an ingenuity here, but I think the best option for a lower budget here will be to just use a rare belt with maximum life and try res. So priority on the gear, again, offensively, it's going to be critical hit chance for spells on the focus and the wand. Then we want as much Rarity as we can get. We, of course, want our res capped. And then we want as high energy shield as possible. And if we can get it, some maximum life as well. Those are the gear choices that I've made here for this build. All the gear will, of course, also be in the mobalytics. So on the passive tree, the first thing you'll probably notice is that I'm getting blood magic on the passive tree here instead of getting it through the mask of the Sanguine-Master. The main reason here is that we can in turn get a helmet here that has high energy shield, has maximum life, has Rarity, also has critical hit chance and resist. I think this is much better. Also, what we are getting on the passive tree here when we actually path towards blood magic is going to be 2 extra jewel slots here. Jewels are going to be very powerful for this build. Jewels, just speaking of jewels, it's always going to be a very good source of getting critical hit chance. You can always get the double critical hit chance here, so critical hit chance and critical hit chance for spells. Also, on every single jewel, you want maximum energy shield, and if you are crit capped or being close to crit capped, then you start to get critical damage bonus. So jewels, very important on the build. Other than that, on the passive tree, I'm prioritizing a lot of ES nodes here. Like I said, I wanted this build to be very tanky. I don't want to die anymore in maps. I just want to have a smooth mapping experience without actually having to worry about dying ever again. So this is facilitated through all this energy shield that we're getting on the passive tree here as well. We are still at a very high damage. We do not need to worry about killing anything on the maps or the map bosses or even pinnacle bosses. So the damage is still more than enough for every content in the game, while also now being so tanky as we are here. So passive tree is going to be on the mobalytics, of course. So everything will be in there. If you need any reference for the passive tree, you can look in the mobalytics guide. That is the passive tree. So I wanted to keep this as short as possible. So if you have any questions about the build, I will be playing this for the foreseeable future on my stream, since I have a bunch of way to go. Today on stream, I made like 13% without actually going into experience choosing or anything. So if you want to follow this build on its journey to level 100, or if you want to follow me on my Twitch when I will be doing this in the next few days, you can follow me on my stream or just tune in. I stream every single day on my Twitch stream. So yeah, like I said, I wanted to keep this as short as possible. See you in the next one. See you. Bye bye.